Hey, dreamer. Sit back and relax. I'll take you to your next dream.
Hey, are you still calm? Come here, you can cuddle up to me. There we go. Yeah, it gets colder in the night. There. Let's get these blankets on top. Good thing I packed them. There we go. Better? That's good. Exactly what I'd like to hear. It's not too bad if you know how to set things up. I had to prepare for the princess after all. I knew you needed extra measures to relax in the wild. But I have to say, your magic did wonders. So thank you for that. Yeah, the fact that we could make a fire, get some warm dinner, and drink some warm tea was a huge help. I've never been able to eat anything decent or even warm in these parts. So, thank you. Mm, yeah, magic is truly wonderful. And you're absolutely wonderful. Hey, we should get some sleep. We're leaving early in the morning. At dawn. And I don't want you to doze off while we're riding again. Yeah, it's still dangerous to do so. Hmm? You can't sleep. Seriously. Aren't you warm? Hmm? Is it nice and warm and cozy here? Okay, fine. I'll tell you what. I'll help you go to sleep. Hmm. Well, in my travels, a peddler gave me a very, very potent item that could help you sleep anytime you want. I have it with me always. Here it is. Not just any book. It's a book of stories. It contains over 1,000 stories. each of them more magical than the next. How about I read some for you? Well, they say a good bedtime story helps one doze off quickly. Maybe that'll help. Well, I know you're not a kid anymore, but you don't have to be a kid to hear a good bedtime story. That's what I think, anyway. I think everyone deserves to be read to, no matter how old they are. Come here. Snuggle up to me. Make sure you're comfortable, nice and warm. Atta girl. Right. Let's see. Okay. The first story. This story is called The Adventures of Cogs the Tinkerer by Sandy T. Buck. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a tinkerer named Cogsworth, but everyone called him Cogs. He was an odd sort of fellow, not like all the other men. He was scrawny, with glasses, and curly red hair. All the maidens of the kingdom would laugh and tease him about his silly looks and curious ways. There was only one maiden, lovely and fair, the Princess Aricia, who would not laugh or tease him, but smiled instead. Cogs loved her for her kindness and thought to himself, I will prove myself worthy and wed the princess someday. Years passed, and the kingdom of Girium flourished, making the king very wealthy. Unfortunately, the king's wealth attracted much unwanted attention from an ancient, greedy dragon. The kingdom of Girium was a beautiful place with golden towers that glistened in the sun like diamonds. The kingdom stretched for miles through green forests, golden fields, and a vast dark mountain range. The people of Girium were happy and loved the king and his daughter, the Princess Aricia. The king decided that, for his daughter's birthday, he would hold a festival in her honor. Today is a glorious day, stated the king. Today I am decreeing that he who is worthy shall have my daughter's hand in marriage. On the day of the festival, a worthy suitor will be chosen. The day of the festival came, and Girium was a sight to behold. Golden tapestries hung from every window, and everywhere there were sights and spectacles to behold. A line stretched from Girium's gate to the castle's great hall, crowded with lords, knights, princes, and kings, all vying for the princess's hand in marriage. The line of suitors was long and crowded. Each one of them had brought a gift for Her Majesty. Patiently standing in line, Cogs the Tinkerer was awaiting his turn to present his gift. I present to you, my lady, Cogs the Tinkerer of Girium. Everyone in the crowd began to laugh as Cogs approached the princess with his gift. My lady, If it so pleases you, I would like to present you with your own one-of-a-kind birthday cake." The princess took the cake and looked at it quizzically. "What does it do?" she asked. Cogs took the cake and wound up a small key. The cake started to whirl, clink, squeak, and clank. Then it opened up with a pop, and out poured tiny clockwork doves. The laughter died, and the crowd was awed into silence as the cake sputtered to a stop. The princess looked at Cogs and said, "Thank you for the most interesting gift. You may go now." Feeling the eyes of the entire kingdom upon him, Cogs turned, looking defeated, and trudged away from the princess and the crowd with his head down. The line of suitors stretched on into the night, and the princess grew tired. "My lady, may I present to you Lord Ballaur?" The princess looked up in awe at the young lord with dark hair and golden eyes striding toward her. "My lady," he said as he made a sweeping bow, "your beauty is legendary." The princess was enraptured by Lord Ballaur. "Princess Aricia, I have not bought a gift, but I do have something for you," said Lord Ballaur as he grinned a sly smile at her. He placed a thin gold cord around the prince's neck and then turned to face the king. "Do you love your daughter more than your gold?" Lord Ballaur asked. "Yes, I love my daughter more than all the gold in the world," answered the king. "Good," said Lord Ballaur. "If you want your daughter back, then you must pay tribute every new moon until all your wealth is gone. Once I have broken your kingdom, then and only then will you get your daughter back." Then, to everyone's surprise, there was a thunderous ripping sound, and Lord Ballaur's body began to transform. Big, black, leathery wings appeared, then a long, leathery spiked tail. Then, with a great, raucous, wrenching sound, the head of the beast appeared, breathing fire at everyone close to him. Lord Ballaur wound the gold cord around the princess, snatched her up, and flew off into the night. The king searched for his daughter and the dragon for weeks after the festival, but to no avail. There were whispers in the kingdom that the king himself was cursed. As promised, on the night before the new moon, the dragon appeared above the castle, breathing fire, demanding tribute. "Lords and ladies of Girium, hear me. Bring your tribute up to the mountain pass, to the first cave you see. I will be there waiting for thee." The next day, the king sent his tribute caravan up the mountain pass to deliver the gold. Late into the night, the caravan returned with word from the dragon. He wanted more gold at the next new moon. This went on for several months, until finally the king was mad with rage. His treasure was dwindling at a very fast pace. He sent out a decree far and wide, stating that if any man rescued his daughter and defeated the dragon, they would be given the princess' hand in marriage. Once again, suitors filled the castle walls, all of them in shining armor and riding on splendid steeds. They boasted of how they would save the princess and slay the dragon. Each one rode up the mountain pass, never to be seen or heard from again. As the days passed and the suitors dwindled, the kingdom was filled with the sounds of pounding, clicking, and whirling as metal and gears were fitted together. The day before the next new moon, Cogs the Tinkerer strode into the castle and asked the king if his decree still stood. The king looked at Cogs and laughed, and then shook his head. Cogs, what makes you think you can defeat the dragon and save my daughter when all of these brave men could not? Cogs just smiled and walked outside towards his horse and cart. Follow me, he shouted towards the king. The king stepped down off his throne and followed Cogs outside. Dear king, under this cloth is our salvation. Not only will it destroy the dragon, but it will allow me to save the princess. How is a bunch of gears stuck together going to do all that? Asked the king. You'll see, said Cogs, and he climbed up into his cart. Cogs drove his horse and cart up the long mountain pass and up to the entrance of the cave. He threw back the cloth to reveal a bright, shiny golden clockwork prince. Cogs wound the clockwork prince up and sent him into the cave and quietly followed behind. The shiny golden clockwork prince clicked, clacked, and whirled his way into the dragon's lair, while Cogs crept along the wall. Walked the clockwork prince, whirling and clacking his way up to the dragon. The dragon watched as the clockwork prince clanked and clacked into his chamber, and watched enthralled as the gears moved round and round. What a curious creation, said the dragon. Why, however does it work? As the dragon watched and pondered the clockwork prince, Cogs had crept very silently up to the princess's cage. He signaled the princess to be very quiet. Then he gingerly slid the bolt back, freeing her. The clicking, clacking, whirling noises were slowing down, and Cogs knew his time was running out. He grabbed for the princess's hand and started running. They were almost to the entrance when they heard the dragon below. Where is she? And then the ground shook as the dragon lumbered out of his chamber. Don't stop running, yelled Cogs. We don't have much time. The cave went silent as the clockwork prince came to a stop. The dragon turned back to look at the curious shiny object, when all of a sudden there was a flash of light and the whooshing of air as the clockwork prince exploded. Outside the cave stood the king and the entire kingdom, curious to see if Cogs the Tinkerer would survive. As the ground shook and the smoke cleared, a gasp and then a great cry could be heard moving through the crowd. It's the princess! Cogs saved the princess! Was chanted over and over again. Cogs escorted the princess up to the king and said, Sire, I have done my part. The king in return placed his daughter's hand in Cogs and announced to his subjects in a loud voice that the two would be married on the morrow. The wedding was a glorious affair, with people attending from far and wide, wishing the happy couple a very long and healthy life. And they lived happily ever after. Or did they? And that's the story. Did you like it, princess? No? Someone's getting sleepy, aren't they? I told you This was a magical book. Alright, let me put this away. Don't move. Just stay there. There. Good night, princess. Sweet dreams.